have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Smelly Tele. Today we're looking at Rainy Day Woman by Waylon Jennings, and this is going to be a first on our channel because it is a B Bender guitar lesson. Today we're going to be using the Bowden B Bender. I'll talk about that bender in a little bit, and I'll give you a quick tip on how to use a B Bender so that it sounds a little bit more like a pedal steel. And this tip applies for this song in particular, but it doesn't necessarily apply to every song. So for today we got a nice quick tip to play Rainy Day Woman like a pedal steel guitar player would. Thank you everybody for voting in the polls this week. Remember, if you like these videos, hit the like button and the subscribe button because it helps me continue to make more guitar lesson videos for you. That's enough talking. Let's go play some guitar. Okay, Rainy Day Woman, these are B Bender guitar licks. This is something that as a kid I always wanted to learn how to play, and I've been playing with this Bowden B Bender for a long time now. It's a very cool tool. It's pretty easy to install. What I liked about the Bowden B Bender versus other benders is that you can install it right on the bridge of the Telecaster here without having to screw any holes in your guitar. So if you ever want to go resell your guitar, you can just back the little Allen screws off and remove the bender, restring it through the body like it comes standard, and your guitar is back to normal. So pretty cool little tool. Also, if you don't know, you can kind of detune the B string with this, and if you're going to a gig, you can pull the bender back and kind of pull it off to the side a little, and then stick it in your case, and you're good to travel with the guitar too. So that's kind of neat. That looks like this in the camera, so that's nice and flat, and that's vertical where the bender is. Normally it's not that floppy, but let's retune and let's get into the guitar lesson. Alright, so some quick tips on using the B Bender. A lot of times you'll hear people use a bender and it's just, and they're not using it kind of like a pedal steel would play it. They're just pushing the pedal or the lever. And you've heard that sound in a couple different songs. But if you want to get a pedal steel kind of sound, the bender is supposed to be used as if you're playing two distinct notes even though you're only playing the string one time. So what I mean by that is if you play the string, that's one note. And then if you play it with the bender, you're going to hear two notes. There's going to be 1, 2. 1, 2. So if we're counting that, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those pauses before you use the bender help establish the note that you're trying to hear. And then the bending movement is actually very short. It's a quick move to the next note, and that is what makes it sound like a pedal steel guitar when you're using these licks. So see how there's a pause there, and you let that first note that you play on the bender establish itself before you bend. Okay, now let's get into Rainy Day Woman. First line of the song sounds like this. Okay, going to play that. We're going to start on the 10th fret of our B string, 9th fret of the G, 12th fret, and we're going to give it a B bender. Remember to let that note establish itself. And then we're going to play the 12th fret of the E string. Then you go up to the 16th fret of the high E, hammer on the 17th fret, play the 17th fret twice, hammer on again from the 16th to the 17th, and then play the 17th fret again. And you're going to do that one more time, hammer on to the 17th fret from the 16th fret, 17th fret again, Then we're going to pull off the 17th fret to the 16th fret. And then you're going to play the 17th fret of the B string. You're going to have the bender depressed or your bender applied, and you're going to play that note, let it establish, and then release the bender. Then you're going to play the 17th fret of the high E again, pull off to the 16th fret twice. Pre-bend the bender again, play the 17th fret of the B string and let it off. And that's the first line. So, nice and slow, 1, 2, 3. One more time, even slower. 1, 2, 3. All right, next line of the song sounds like this. Okay, to play that, you're going to start on the 16th fret of your G string. You're going to play it twice, and the second time you'll hammer on the 18th fret. Then you're going to play the 17th fret of the B string 3 times. On the third time, you're going to bend with the bender. 16th fret of your high E string. 17th fret of the high E, pull it off to the 16th fret, play that twice. Pre-bend your bender to the 17th fret of the B string, then the 16th fret of your G string, then play the G string again on the 16th fret, give it a full bend and release it. 18th fret of the D string. Then you're going to kind of move your hand position. You're going to play the 16th fret of the G string with a full bend. 14th fret of the B string twice. 16th fret of the G again, full bend. 14th fret. 16th fret again, full bend. Play that 14th fret of the B string twice. And then you're going to release the bend on the 16th fret. And then play the 14th fret of the G string. Okay? That part all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're into the first line of the verse. Oh, rainy day woman, never seem to see you for the good time. Okay, gonna play that. We're just gonna start on the 17th fret of the E string. We're gonna pull it off to the 16th fret. You're gonna play the 17th fret of the B string, pre-bend your bender, and then we're gonna release it. Then you're going to play the 18th fret of the G string, pull it off to the 16th fret. Never seem to see it for the good. And when he says times, we're going to bend the 11th fret of the G string with a full bend. Then we'll play the B string on the 9th fret 5 times. So full bend, 11th fret G. B string, 9th fret 5 times. Okay. That all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, rainy day woman, never seem to see you for the good times or the... And then when he says sunshine, you're going to hear this lick. You have been a friend. Okay, and to play that, it's just the same thing that we did earlier. It's the 11th fret of the G string with a full bend. Play the 9th fret of the B string twice. Repeat that lick 2 more times. So 11th fret, full bend on the G string. 9th fret on the B string twice. 1 more time. Then you're going to play the 11th fret and release that bend that you have on the G string. 9th fret of the G. So let's play that all together. Never seem to see you for the good times or the sunshine. You have been a friend. 1 more time. Never seem to see you for the good times or the sunshine. You have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. And this line sounds like this. That woman of mine, she ain't happy. Okay, and to play that, it's just the 9th fret of your E string. 10th fret of the E, pull it off to the 9th fret, and you're going to play this lick twice. Then the 10th fret of the B string, pre-bend your bender. Play the 10th fret and release your bender. 9th fret of the G. 9th fret of the G again, and hammer on to the 11th fret. Then the 10th fret of the B. That woman of mine, she ain't happy. This lick is the 10th fret of the E string, pull off to the 9th fret. 10th fret of the B. 9th fret of the G. Okay, let's take that together. You have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. That woman of mine, she ain't happy. Alright, good. Let's take it a little bit slower. 1. You have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. That woman of mine, she ain't happy till she finds something wrong and someone to blame. If it ain't one thing, it's another one on the way. Alright, in this line, it's over find something wrong and someone to blame. It's real easy. You just bend the 11th fret of the G string till she finds something wrong, and on someone, the start of someone, you're going to bend it and you're going to start playing the 8th notes until you hear him start the word another. So, till she finds something wrong, and bend that 11th fret of the G string with a full bend, continue playing at the start of someone until we reach the start of another. Someone to blame, if it ain't one thing, it's another one on the way. Okay, let's play that together. 2, 3. Till she finds something wrong and someone to blame. If it ain't one thing, it's another one on the way. And this line, very similar to some of the other licks we've learned, sounds like this. Woke up this morning to the sunshine. Alright, to play that, you're just going to play on the 10th fret of the high E, pull it off to the 9th fret, 10th fret of the B string, 9th fret of the G, 10th fret of the B string again, play the 10th one more time on that B string and give it a bend with the bender, then the 9th fret of the high E. Then under woke up this morning, you're going to hear the 11th fret on the D string hammered onto the 12th fret, 9th fret of the G, 10th fret of the B twice, then you're going to play the 9th of the G and the 10th of the B again. Alright, so that all together sounds like this. Ain't one thing, it's another one one on the way. Woke up this morning to the sunshine. One more time. If it ain't one thing, it's another one on the way. Woke up this morning to the sunshine. Next line sounds like this. Over sure as hell looks just like rain. So to play that, you're going to bend the 11th fret of the G string with a full bend. You're going to hold that bend, and you're going to play that 11th fret 2 more times. So that's the full bend, and then twice with the full bend on. So 1, 1, 2. Then you're going to play the 12th fret of the B string. And then you're going to bend the 11th fret of the G string with a full bend, and you'll play the B string 3 times. These are all 8th notes. Then you're going to bend the G string again on the 11th fret with a full bend and 2 notes on the B string, 9th fret. The 11th fret will be a whole note, and the 9th fret on the B string will be 2 8th notes. And you're going to play that lick 3 times, so 2 more times here. Then you're going to play the 11th fret of the G string, release it with the bend on, so release the bend. Then the 9th fret of the G. So all together sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. All right, one more time. 2, 3, 4. Sure as hell looks just like rain. I know where to go on a cloudy day. And the next line sounds like this. Oh, rainy day woman. Okay, to play that, it's just the 10th fret of the B string twice. And then the 9th fret of the G. 10th fret on the B string twice again, and your 9th fret of the G. Then he sings, oh, rainy day woman. 9th fret of the E. 10th fret of the E, pull it off to the 9th fret. 10th fret of the B string. And that's the line. So, 2, 3, 4. Oh, rainy day woman. So the next line sounds like this. I never seem to see it for the good times or the sunshine. So to play that, you're going to start on the 11th fret of the G string, give it a full bend, then you're going to play the 11th fret twice after the bend. Then the 12th fret of the B string, play the 11th fret of the G again with the bend on and release it. Then you're going to play the 11th fret of the G string again, give it a full bend. Play the B string on the 9th fret twice. Bend the G string again from the 11th fret up a full bend. 9th fret of the B string twice. Again, G string 11th fret full bend. B string twice, 9th fret. Play that 11th fret on the G string with the bend on and release it. 9th fret of the G. Okay, all together. 2, 3, 4. I never seem to see you for the good time or the sunshine. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Never seem to see you for the good times or the sunshine. You've been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. And the last little notes here before the solo sound like this. And then you start the top of the solo. So all that is the 11th fret of the D string, hammer it onto the 12th fret, 9th fret of the G, And now we're at the top of the solo. So that little lick before the solo, one more time. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Last time, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, solo time. First line of the solo sounds like this. Okay, to play that, you're going to start on the 9th fret of the E string, play it 4 times. 10th fret of the high E, pull it off to the 9th fret, and we're going to play this lick twice. Then you're going to play the 10th fret of the B string, pre-apply your bender, and release the bend. 9th fret of the G. Then you're going to play a double stop. This is the 7th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the E string, and you're going to give the 7th fret a full bend on your bender. Then you're going to play the 10th fret of the high E string twice. Now this is tricky. You want to lift your finger before you release your bend so that you don't hear the bender coming down. So at this lick, you don't want to hear. It's only up with the bender, not a down bend where you're releasing it. You only want to apply it. So let's take it from the top of this line, the double stop. 7th fret B string, 10th fret E string, give it the full bend. Play the E string twice on the 10th fret. Release your pointer finger, release your bender. Play the double stop again, 7th fret B, 10th fret E, and apply the bender. Play the 10th fret of the high E. Release your bender. Remember to mute this string so you can release it without hearing it. Then you're going to play this double stop again twice, and you're going to bend the 7th fret on the B string with the 10th fret of the high E string played there. So the double stop with the bender. Then you're going to play the 7th fret of the B string and release the bend. 9th fret of the G string. 7th fret high E. 10th fret high E. So it's kind of a lot to digest, so let's take it nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we're into the next line of the song. This line of the solo here sounds like this. Okay, so to play that, you're going to play the same double stop, 7th fret B, 10th fret of the high E, and give the bender a full bend. Play the 10th fret of your high E twice. Then play the bend again with the double stop, 7th fret B, 10th fret high E string once. Then you're going to play the double stop twice and give each double stop the full bend with the bender. Then the 7th fret, we're going to bend down with the bender, so just release the bender. 9th fret G, 7th fret high E, 9th fret of the high E, 10th fret, pull it off to the 9th fret of that high E. Pre-apply the bender and release it on the 10th fret of the B string. 9th fret G, 11th fret D string, hammer on the 12th fret. 9th fret G string, 10th fret with a full bend on the bender, 9th fret of the E, and that's the line. Let's take it from the start of the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then the solo here kind of repeats as Waylon Jennings takes his guitar solo. So the two lines that we just learned, we're going to repeat them and we're going to play them right now. Before we get to the practice track, I'll do a quick little blurb on how to play that Waylon Jennings solo. But for right now, let's start on the top of this line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then right at the end of this line, it's going to change a little bit. You're going to jump up to the 14th fret of the G string, hammer on to the 16th fret, 17th fret of the B string. And now we're into the second part of the steel guitar solo. So that little blurb, that small change at the end of the solo, is just, again, the 14th fret of the G, hammer on to the 16th fret, 17th fret. And it just sounds like this. And then we're into the next line, the top of the next line. So we got, this is what it sounds like with the lead in starting at the 14th fret. And we're going to play through. All right, let's learn that line before we move on. So we're going to play the 16th fret of the G string, slide up to the 18th fret. 17th fret B string, 16th fret high E, hammer on to the 17th fret, play that 17th fret twice, 16th fret of the high E again, hammer on to the 17th, 17th fret again, 17th fret, pull it off to the 16th fret of the high E, 17th fret of the B string, play it again, play it one more time, and then use your bender, 16th fret of the high E, 17th fret high E, pull it off to the 16th fret. Pre-apply your bender on the 17th fret of the B string and release it. 16th fret G string. 16th fret again, hammer on to the 18th fret on the G string. 17th fret B twice. On the third time you play the 17th fret, you're going to use your bender. 16th fret of the high E. Pull off the 17th fret of the high E to the 16th fret. And that's the end of the line. So altogether, that sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Then we're into the next line of the solo. Sounds like this. Okay, to play this line, you're going to play the 17th fret of the high E string, pull it off to the 16th fret, pre-bend the bender on the 17th fret and release it, 16th fret of the G string, and then you're going to drop down to the 14th fret, hammer on the 16th fret of the G string, play the 17th fret of the B string, bend the G string with a full bend, play it two more times, and then a third time you're going to pull, the third time you're going to release that bend. 14th fret of the G string, 16th fret, 14th fret, 14th fret again, 16th fret of the G string, slide up to the 18th fret, 17th fret of the B, 16th fret, hammer on to the 17th fret on the high E string, two more times on the 17th fret, high E, 16th fret, hammer on to the 17th fret, 17th fret one more time. Alright, so that all together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the next line of the solo sounds like this. Alright, to play that, you're going to play the 16th fret of the high E, hammer on to the 17th fret, play the 17th fret again, 17th fret one more time and pull it off to the 16th fret, pre-apply your bender on the 17th fret of your B string and release it, 16th fret G, 17th fret B string, play it one more time, 17th fret of the B, and then use your bender, full bend, 16th fret of the high E string, pull off the 17th fret to the 16th fret, high E, B string again, 17th fret, play it one more time, then use your bender with a full bend, 16th fret, high E, 17th fret, pull off to the 16th fret, play that like twice, pre-apply the bender, 17th fret, B string, and then release the bender, 16th fret, G. Let's take it all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next line sounds like this. Oh, rainy day, and then you're into the top of the chorus. So to play that, you're going to play the 17th fret of the high E string, pull it off to the 16th fret, pre-apply your bender, 17th fret of the B string, and then release it. 16th fret of the G string, give it a full bend and release the bend. 18th fret of the D string, 14th fret G string twice, 14th fret of the G string twice, 16th fret G full bend, 14th fret B string twice, 16th fret G, give it another full bend, 14th fret B, play the 16th fret of the G string, notice how the bend is still applied, you're just going to play that and release the bend, 14th fret of the G. All together, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're into the last chorus here. Oh, rainy day woman, never seem to see it for the good time. Okay, to play that line, you're going to start, oh, rainy day woman. So to play that, it's just the 12th fret of the high E. Pre-apply the bender and release it on the 12th fret of the B string. Then the 10th fret of the B. And then he's saying, never seem to see it for the good times. And on times, you're going to bend the 11th fret of the G string, full bend. 9th fret of the B string, 3 times. Play the 11th fret of that G and release the bend. Then you're going to bend the 11th fret of the G again, full bend. 9th fret of the B. Bend the 11th fret of the G string again, full bend. 9th fret of the B string twice. Alright, let's take that line all together. 2, 3. Oh, rainy day woman, never seem to see it for the good time. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, rainy day woman, Never seem to see it for the good time. So the next line sounds like this. You, oh, the sunshine. You have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. Okay, and to play the line starting at 83, you're going to bend the G string with a full bend, B string, 9th fret twice, 11th fret G, release the bend. You have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. And these two notes are part of the lead-in to the last pedal steel solo. It's just the 10th fret of the B string, 9th fret of the E. Okay, all together. Never seem to see it for the good times or the sunshine. You have been a friend of mine, rainy day woman. Okay, and then the next line sounds like this. Okay, to play that, we're going to play the 9th fret on the high E string, pull off the 10th fret to the 9th fret, pre-apply the bender on the 10th fret of your B and release it, 9th fret of the G, then play the 9th fret of the high E 4 times. Then you're going to play the 10th fret of the high E, pull it off to the 9th fret, and we're going to do this twice. Pre-apply the bender and play the 10th fret of the B string, release the bender, 9th fret of the G. Then you're going to play the 10th fret of the high E, 7th fret, 7th fret of the B string, and then push the bender down, 10th fret of the high E, 7th fret of the B string with the bender on. Okay, from the top, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so one more time on this line, line number 87. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then going into the next line. Alright, so to play that, it's just you have your bender applied here. And you're going to play the 7th fret of the E string, 7th fret of the B and release the bender, 9th fret of the G string. Then you're going to play the 9th fret of the D, 9th fret G, 7th fret, and you're going to pre-apply the bender and release it very quickly. Okay. Then you're going to play the double stop, 7th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the E, and you're going to apply the bender. Play the 10th fret of the E twice. Play that again. Then you're going to play this double stop 2 times and use the bender both times. Play the 7th fret of the B string and release it. 9th fret of the G. 7th fret of the high E. 10th fret of the B. Play it again, 10th fret. Apply the bender this time. 9th fret of the high E. 10th fret of the high E, pull it off to the 9th fret. And let's take that line all together. 2, 3, 4. Alright, we're going to take it from the top of that line and we're going to do a small lead in. We're just going to play the notes from the previous line. So it sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. Then we're into the last line of the song. then the song fades out. Alright, so the last line, you're going to play the 10th fret of the B string, 16th fret of the D string, pull it off to the 14th, 16th fret D, 14th fret D, then the 18th fret, slide it up to the 19th fret, then play the 16th fret of the G string, 17th fret B string, 16th fret G, hammer on to the 18th fret, 17th fret B string, 16th fret high E, hammer on to the 17th fret, play it 2 more times on that 17th fret, 16th fret high E, hammer on to the 17th fret, 17th fret again, 17th fret of the E string 1 more time, pull off to the 16th fret. Then you're going to apply the bender and play the 17th fret of the B string and release the bender, 16th fret of the G, and that's the end of the fade out. So, all together, 2, 3, 4. Last time, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all the pedal steel parts for Rainy Day Woman. So let's go ahead and jump into Waylon Jennings solo. Alright, Waylon Jennings guitar solo for Rainy Day Woman sounds like this. Alright, and to play that, you're going to play your open A, slide the 2nd fret up to the 4th fret on the A, 2nd fret D, 4th fret D, 2nd fret G, play your open A twice, 2nd fret of the G, open A, 2nd fret G, open A, 2nd fret G, then you're going to hammer on from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret on the D string, 2nd fret G, pull off the 4th fret of the A string to the 2nd fret, 2nd fret D, open E, 4th fret of the D string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, slide up to the 6th fret on that D string, play the 6th fret again and slide down to the 4th fret, and the next note is the 2nd fret on the D string. But that's the end of our line. Let's go ahead and practice that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now the next line, we're going to start on that 2nd fret of the D string that we just hit. You're going to play 2nd fret D, hammer on from the 2nd fret of the A string to the 4th fret 2 times, 2nd fret of the D string, 4th fret of the D string, slide up to the 6th fret, 6th fret again, slide that 6th fret down to the 4th fret, 2nd fret D, 4th fret A, 2nd fret of the D string, then the 2nd fret of the A string, hammer on the 4th fret, 2nd fret of the D, 4th fret of the A, 2nd fret of the D, then you're going to pull off the 4th fret of the A string to the 2nd fret to the open string, then the 2nd fret of the E string, open A, then you're going to bend the 3rd fret of the low E, and those 2 notes will repeat 5 times. So that was the first time. Let's play it 4 more times. And that's the end of the solo. So starting from that 2nd fret of the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's Waylon Jennings' guitar solo for Rainy Day Woman. 1, 2, 3, 4.